Hi.
Good morning, good morning. We're having our Wicomico County Board of Elections meeting on this 15th day of October. If you could stand, please. You can pledge and volunteer for prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Getting it started, we'll call our meeting to order. We have a quorum, all is here. And I did approve on the minutes from last month. Motion to approve. Can I get a second on the motion? I'll second it. Okay, Carl, Sharon made the motion, Carlson seconded. Any unreadiness? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Chair votes aye, it's unanimous. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we may continue the director's report.
Good morning. You all have a copy of your monthly budget report for 2026 that was emailed to you last week. We don't have any legislative updates. We do have a total of 7 total active filings. County executive, state's attorney, Democratic Central Committee have 3. The county executive and state's attorney both have 1, and Board of Education 2. As far as redistricting, I will go into more detail on this topic when we get to old business as well as the new business. Polling places, we will talk about the proposed location for Fruitland primary under new business. All other updates on our polling place locations, I will discuss with you when we get to the 2026 election plan.
All right.
On today, the state administrator, Jerry DiMarino, will meet with you virtually in a closed session. He won't be in person. Our job postings that I talked to you about last month have closed for election program assistance. We held 2 voter outreach sessions in the community in September. We are scheduled to be on the program for a candidate school sponsored by Salisbury Chamber of Commerce, Greater Salisbury Committee, and the PAC Public Affairs and Civic Engagement at Salisbury University. This will take place on October the 27th, and it begins at 6:30.
Dion, for that, you know if it's gonna be the same room that we went to 2 years ago?
I can check. I don't think that he gave me the room information. I'm probably gonna have to email him back.
Okay.
I don't have that, but I'll let you know.
All right, then I appreciate it.
I'll look that up before the end of the meeting.
Yeah, because last time we did, remember, we did a wandering around because they told us the building, but they didn't tell us what floor or anything.
Okay, I'll check on that and let you know.
Thank you so much.
Dion, is it 6:30 a.m.
6:30 p.m. So with our PIA requests, we don't have any, we didn't get any in September. We did fill the PIA request from last month that I discussed. And that ends my report unless you have questions about anything.
No, ma'am.
How many applicants did we get for the election programs?
Um, total applicants, I don't have yet, because what happens is it doesn't come directly to me. So it closed last Thursday. And what'll happen is our HR department will go through the applications and they'll rate them and then they will send them. So I don't have it. It normally takes at least a couple weeks. And what'll happen is we will interview a minimum of 3, depending on how many applicants. If it's over 10 applicants, then it would be a minimum of 3. If it's less than that, then we generally will have to interview all of the applicants.
So the process is, just for people who are listening, is that the state will send you their recommended applications and then you go from there.
They'll start with the best. I won't get the total number, but they'll send the best to me initially and then I'll start the process from there. Yeah.
Is there ever a process where they have that they're qualifying points, like if someone was in the office already that would have qualifiers? I know at my job that we had is you were a clerk or you had a job under what I was posting, that you got qualified points for just understanding the regular process of the company. Do we have that at the state?
That's part of their rating process, because they do your experience.
Yes.
They do, your education, so that's part of their rating, so they would consider that as well.
I just want to make sure we give a fair shot. That I might not have a college degree, but I might have been here 15 years.
Yes, they do that as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Right. Pete, attorney's report.
Nothing new. There is a conference call scheduled October 29th, so I'll let you know what everybody says after that. Otherwise, nothing.
All right, thank you so much. All right, then to the old business.
Under the 25, redistricting, I talked to you last month, in the meeting that, we had entered all of our councilman district changes and we were proving that information. So upon reviewing the information, we realized that additional changes were warranted for the, precincts and boundaries, which, I will discuss in, more detail when we get under new business. So, we're not finished with that process.
Is there a projected date to be done with it?
It just depends on the approval, so it'll start with you all, approving, the plan that I present to you.
Okay.
I have to go before the county council, so that part of it. And then once, that is done, once I get those approvals, then I'll go back into NV voters and make the precinct changes. So the only changes I was able to do initially were the districts. The precincts are completed by your approval. And then there's a couple districts that I'll discuss under the plan that have a minimum amount of voters. I'll go back to the county council. So in my mind, no more than, the end of the month, because I have to get the plan to the state by November the 24th. So we've divided up what we have to do. So I want to have it done within the next 30 days is my projected.
Okay, thank you so much.
So that the public has qualification of what it's done, I want to ask when the county, as attorney or whoever provides this redistricting process, do they have to have somewhere for all of us how that process works? Or they just find it however, because there are layers of things that have to be taken into account, and that's the problem that we're having, this office is having now, that some of them may be able to be tweaked, or they just pick where they want the lines to be.
So, the districts, they just picked where they wanted they did it according to, the population. So when we went back and did it in our system, of course, with our precincts is according to the voter, count. So, taking on a project like that, I would say that the election office should have been involved in that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions on this topic for Dion? Okay, 2026, polling place rental agreement.
We're still getting those back. I do have a few more for you to sign,
Okay,
and this is for the private locations. Once I get the schools back, I will have you to sign those as well.
thank you. All right, the 26th budget.
You have that in your packet. Did you have any questions about anything? Okay,
Not me.
Do you have any concerns?
not at this point. My only, concern, which will come later on, would be, the amount of, voter notification cards that we'll be sending out. So, I did a projection, when I did the budget, and it could, depending on the cost of my sample ballot, later on, I may, have to go back to the council for that, but it's just too early right now to be able to say.
I know the answer, but I just want to say, because I don't think that maybe the public knows all of the qualifications, and when we have to do that when you say you're going back to the county, because what's appropriated is not enough funds to handle what it is, and that they have to reallocate more funds to cover what their decisions were, correct?
Currently, I'm fine. Again, as far as, if I would ever have to go back, it would only be due to, the redistrict changes.
Right,
We have to send voter notification cards out to every voter. And I'm currently at approximately 31,000, voter notification cards. It will be more once I get done with the precinct changes. I just have no idea, at this point. I can't tell you how many.
right, so that's half of the county then.
Yes. Mhm. We're required because of the change.
That's
To
what
send it out.
everybody aha moment. So
And
this is not as easy as Dion and her people make it seem to be, that it's a lot of work that goes on that we don't see.
yeah, so that would be, part of our postage. Once we get our sample ballots and our bids back from that, then I will be able to tell if, enough money was set aside.
Okay,
So I will not know that until 26.
I just wanted for an awareness.
Mhm.
You want to say something first?
No. fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Then for our new business, the 2026 proposed voting locations.
Okay, so you all, I gave you a copy of the, public notice, that we sent out, prior to, our updated public notice. We discussed Fruitland primary last month.
Right.
So, we know Fruitland primary is not available for the 2026 location. The proposed locations that we presented were, Fruitland Town Hall, City Church Fruitland, and New Creation Ministries. Our recommendation is, New Creation Ministries. So before I give you the other, locations, I would just like, the president to, entertain a motion, for, the possible location, in Fruitland to replace Fruitland Primary School for 2026 election cycle. And our recommendation would be New Creation Ministries.
All right, then I would like to have a motion for the change in the voting location in Fruitland, because Fruitland primary will not be a location that we can use for the 2026 election. And then, use our first choice was new location.
New creation.
New creation.
New
And I was
creation.
creation, and I said something else.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks. Then second, motion made by Carlston, second by Andrea. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Chair votes aye, it's unanimous.
Okay, before I hand this out, to you. I want you to, I want to go over, one of the locations. If you can remember, last year, we were not able, not last year,
Yeah, but what-
24, we were not able to use, I guess it was last year, last election cycle, we were not able to use Mardella High School. And we were not able to use, Mardella, in 22, due to construction. So Mardella will now be available. So that's why Mardella is on, the, plan for, the 2026 gubernatorial, election. Just so that we could have it in our minutes. I think,
Want a motion to update it?
I think we should do it is the original location, but, for our minutes, I would just like to do a
Okay.
motion and I'll give you the entire plan.
That's understandable. Then can I hear a motion that, since Mardella High School, the construction is completed, in fact, can be used again, then we go back to the original site and, in lieu of the elementary school that we had used in 24.
And we talked to them and they're fine with it, correct?
Yes, we talked to the school, yes. Mhm. I mean, not the school,
Board of
the
Education.
Board of Ed that oversees the school. So we talked to the facilities manager about it.
Then a motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we return to Mardella High School. Since construction is complete.
Second.
I said,
Okay, it's been properly moved by Carlson and second by Sharon that we go back to the original location in Mardella. Any in readiness? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The chair votes aye and it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Young.
okay. So I'm finished with the, so I'm gonna give you these, 2026, polling places and precincts. And as I talk about that, we will be at our election, plan, the next topic, if that's okay with you.
That's fine
President.
with me.
Okay.
We need one more, if we have one more.
One more.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Can I ask a quick question?
yeah,
I know in going to some, planning meetings, listen to people that, because of my job, that for future, we try to get everything done ahead of time. On the west side, we have had an enormous housing spurt. They had taken out a lot of trees in our neighborhood. They have done from 24 until 23 till now. They've added about 200 townhouses and about 100 houses. And now if you go down west, if you go West Road to Queen Avenue and go in there, they've taken out, all the woods between Queen Avenue and Chippewa Boulevard that they intend to put another 100+ houses. So do we plan ahead or because we know what it's going to be, or do we have to wait until the houses is up before you won't have to do that redistricting again? Or maybe move something else around? Because you're talking now, 3 to 5, over 500 more houses. We don't know how many people will be in each location, in each house.
what normally happens is, planning and zoning for either the county or city, when there is new construction, they send us over the street names and ranges. And it's just a matter of us entering in the computer. That's not, that's not a major undertaking like a redistricting. It's just, a thing of where we would add the street. And myself, Jocelyn, and Nicole, she's, being trained on that now. We normally have multiple people that can add a street. So that's
Just
not,
clarification, I've been sitting in the back room of a meeting.
yeah.
And they're planning to do it again, to
Mhm.
make that location city.
Mhm.
And the residents already that are in that area, they want to, like previous developments, they got a waive on the water and sewer so they could get into the city.
Mhm.
And taxpayers had to absorb that $267,000.
Okay,
So-
yeah, so we just would enter, if it's a new street, we would enter the street and the range is, if it's a current street, we would just add whatever the range is. So that's fine.
Okay,
Okay, so with the election, plan, this is an updated plan. Last year, in 24, we had 31 locations under the proposed plan for the number of locations. This time you have 30. When we went back to do the precinct boundaries, we were able to combine Parsonsburg and Pittsville. They'll now be in one precinct. You have a total of 7.
do they know that yet?
They would get the notification when we send out the voter notification.
I'm just saying, because when they changed them to Beaver Run on Ocean City Road, it was almost a revolution.
So some of the voters, with this proposal, some of them will go back to Beaver Run, and the ones that are closer to Pittsville will go to Pittsville. So with the 72 precincts, you go from 63 to 72 precincts, and those are the listed precincts to the left. So we have an enormous amount of voters, that will be going to, depending on what districts they're in, they could possibly, have a new voting location. So just to give you a background on that is, our precincts are set up, according to the councilmanic districts that you live in and your legislative districts. With the redistricting changes, you cannot have more than one councilmanic district in a precinct. If you have multiple districts in a precinct, you have to split it. So that's why we had to go back and do changes. We had to move voters to, locations that were, or precincts that were, the same district and or, legislative, district. So the same councilmanic district and or legislative district. And that has to be done, due to, the ballot assignment, in our computers in order to get the correct, ballot. So, that's why we had to go back and do, basically you'll have, you have a new, boundary map of precincts and boundary lines, that has been done. And that's what you will be approving, in the next board meeting. So this is the actual precincts that are listed, that are going with the locations. And, if you go online and click on, the link that we have online, you can actually see the new map. I did not bring, a new map with the proposals, but, the map doesn't change the districts that the county gave us. So the districts are what the county assigned, the precincts are what you have to assign. So in order to make, it so that our ballots are produced and assigned correctly, we have to go through and reassign, voters to precincts where they have the same councilmanic or legislative district. In a nutshell, is what had to be
But
done.
it's fine to have districts here that are in the same polling location.
You can have multiple districts in a polling location. You just can't have them in a precinct.
Gotcha.
So that's why we had to, go back and do some changes. So, just so, you'll know, voters are going online now to see what district they're in.
Mhm.
And what will happen is some of those voters could possibly be in new locations due to the district changes.
Gotcha.
So you may perhaps, have phone calls from voters, saying, oh, I'm no longer at Pemberton, I'm now at First Baptist.
Mhm.
I live, right beside, Pemberton.
Right.
Well, First Baptist has voters that are in a different district than Pemberton. And, what that is we don't want too many different ballot styles in one voting
That causes-
location,
that
because it would cause a lot of
confusion.
problems.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, so, we did the best that we could, with what we were given. But you will have some changes, to some of our voters. And some voters in some areas on one side of the street, they may be District 1, for instance, and on another side of the street, they may be District 2.
Sure.
So that will come up. You will have, well, we don't control, we don't, that wasn't under our purview.
Is it the county GIS office that does that?
Yeah, planning and zoning,
Gotcha.
planning and
You know, in
zoning.
this, 22 or 24, I can't remember when we did this, when we were working on the census. One half of Middle Neck Boulevard on the north side was one district, and the south side of Middle Neck Boulevard was another, and the same thing in Sharptown.
Mhm.
We went over there for early voting, Sharptown, they were in a mess because it went so far down the one street where the fire department is, and the last 5 houses on that area had to be something else.
Now, with the precinct change, this was a major undertaking for Wicomico. I've never done precinct changes in Wicomico. Actually, I had Guy Mickley come from Howard County to assist us with this. So he provided guidance, to Jocelyn and myself, on completing this task. So we set it up and had him come back to review it. And he will come back again with me upon approval next week. So this is not something that we do often. This
Amen.
only happened due to district changes. When we did the census, it was more legislative
Yes.
changes than district, maybe a few, but this was a great undertaking that we
Yes,
did.
I just want the public to be aware that when you say that we're going from 5 districts to 7, it's more than just going from 5 to 7.
Oh, yeah. If we don't click a button, it sounds
Yeah.
easy. And that's because most of, just to give you background, a lot of our offices are not set up with GIS yet. Our hope is to get that way, as we get, updated systems. We have, I know Montgomery County has GIS, but of course they're, way larger than we are. So the process is manual, that we're doing in the system. It's not something where it just automatically changes. We literally have to go through and,
Manually.
enter that information for the changes.
Yeah, would you repeat that sentence to me again? You can't have multiple districts in a polling place, but what?
You can have, multiple districts in a polling place, for instance.
North South.
Yeah, I understand it. I just wanted you to say
Okay.
it because I want a simple,
You want it simple.
sentence. So
Okay.
when people ask me,
Okay.
why is this, I can just tell them.
Okay. So, in the polling locations, only one council managed district can be assigned to a precinct. So you can have multiple, precincts in a polling location. But only one council managed district can be assigned to a precinct. So, the bigger picture, for if a person asks, why was I changed from one location to another? It's done to keep as many, voters together that have the same ballot style. They probably would understand it better from that. We have different ballot styles and locations, but we try not to, have too many, ballot styles. So we may move voters to another location just to prevent that.
Well, let me just say, you all do a fantastic job trying to
Amen.
keep all of this together and straight, and I know
Thank you.
a lot of the backstory that goes with producing this piece of paper.
Mhm.
I've said this because I always think it's important. I know that you don't go before the council unless you need something.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea for times like we're in to go before them more often.
Okay.
Because so much of this process has changed.
Okay.
Somebody could get a precinct now and it could be changed.
Yeah.
Before the time for them to vote.
Yes.
And then the criticism becomes public, but the information, I believe, needs to be public first.
Mhm,
And that would help diffuse some of that,
mhm,
because it is a critical time
yes,
and everybody's not nice.
I
So think
understand.
we could play nicer if we give people information earlier
Okay,
with, with the subject to change according to the powers who told you,
yeah.
not to you. You just carry it out.
Yes, we carried out. So, I'll go before the council, because we do have some smaller precincts. We have, as low as 4 voters in a precinct. So that would jeopardize the integrity of someone's ballot. And then, some of the precincts have, maybe 20, 27. So those are the ones that I'll take back to the council. Because again, they go by, population. Once we enter the information, there are times where, it's just too small and you don't want to, jeopardize the integrity of
We just
someone's
wanna
ballot.
Help people have as much clarity as we can early on.
Yes.
So that.
I'm in agreement
Agree.
with that as well, because I don't think people understand. We adhere to the law.
Mhm,
We do not make the law.
correct. I agree. I agree. So in addition to this, what I'll be presenting is your entire polling place plan. That includes your precincts, your polling place locations, that's what you have. It will also include your early voting locations, which I will recommend again, the Civic Center and First Baptist. We only are required to have 2 early voting locations. Our drop box locations, I will keep the office, Civic Center, and, First Baptist, is what I will recommend, to you all to keep. We did get a request from Salisbury University to place a drop box at the college. So there is a request to place an additional drop box at the college. So I will need to send an email to the state as well. Say that again.
I said, I'm sure that Asbury will appreciate it, because I went by there twice in the primary and the general.
And they were busy. Now, keep in mind, Asbury was busy because the college students did not have ballots. My very good, election supervisor reminded me, Asbury was busy, because people were doing provisional. So, the Dropbox could, remind the students, hey, you need to get a ballot, for the election. But I do want to put that out because, Salisbury University did send over an email, and their recommendation, was to have it, in a high, traffic area. And they said that their recommendation would be at the, academic commons or the student commons. They said, the highest in general public area is the academic commons, which is, off 50, and I believe that's where the library is. The student commons is off of Dogwood. But after we talked in the office, I would agree that having it near Asbury probably would be better, because most of our drop boxes are either our office, Civic Center, or First Baptist, because sometimes if people bring ballots in, you can direct them out. Oh, you can actually put it, in the drop box, even though they can take it in the actual polling location, but the drop box is picked up throughout the day, during election time.
And it's closer to where there is a street. The other location that's in the academic commons, you would have to park and walk to it. Because that's on the parking lot is on the outside where 13 is. The walking traffic would be on the inside. And at the, student commons, the parking lot's much larger, and as well as easier access.
So that's for anybody.
Yeah, wherever we put wherever we put the drop box, anyone can use it.
Anybody.
So doesn't it depend on where the surveillance cameras are though?
I would recommend to be closer to the building because of the because we do need a camera on it, so
Right.
it would be, my recommendation, it would be on Dogwood, but you would literally go into the parking lot and drive around. So, like up near where their handicap or, parking is near near their student center. I call it their student center, but they now call it the, student commons.
Yeah.
Is where I would put it, because we would have, I'm sure they have cameras on their building.
And it's well lit, cause I'm parking going over there.
If it's something that you, want to, consider.
Any
You
other,
can consider more, if you're gonna do one,
I don't,
or only because they requested it.
I would at least see how, if it's something that you are, want to entertain, I would see how that goes first.
I don't necessarily want to, but I just, to my opinion.
Warwick's a little different because nobody lives there. You know,
Yeah.
there's nobody lives there.
People are local.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah, the local
commuter
college
students, so, yeah. they'll say-
If, can we say,
Wait a minute, I apologize. You said because they're commuters?
Yes. As opposed to Salisbury University, who has a lot of people who live on campus.
I would think the absentee ballot thing wouldn't be a thing for people who live here necessarily.
Okay. I was just thinking of convenience though.
Convenience for if someone did a,
Well, we have
mail-in
about
ballot.
10,000 people, according to reports, annually who pass through there. And I was just thinking of convenience, if we were doing it at one location. That was the only reason, but I'm not suggesting that we do that.
Oh,
They
okay,
have an ask.
okay.
Salisbury asked.
Okay.
If
And
they're
the
gonna-
thing about the drop boxes are, we're limited, go ahead, sorry, go ahead. Lee.
Oh, no, I was saying, it really doesn't matter, because if they don't request a ballot, they're not gonna have anything to put in the drop box. Correct?
Correct.
Right, and then down at Warwick, that would save everyone from that part of the county from having to drive to the Civic Center if they wanted to use the drop box.
My only point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, I don't know how much a drop box costs.
Um,
And who's paying for it?
Right.
we would pay for the additional, drop box through our quarterly billing. We don't have many that are available. We were told on our call, if we do want an extra drop box, to let them know, because they don't have like a extra inventory. And now is the time to decide. They do have a few extras. So I would say if it's something that you would like to, consider or do, try one of the locations, SU or Warwick, see how it works. If we don't get a lot of, people using it, then perhaps, we could possibly try it, something else the next time. But they have asked, I have to say, they did ask in 24 and 22, they, originally asked, about us possibly using them as a polling location.
Who is
So,
that?
at Salisbury University. So they are looking for change. And if you can remember, at the end of the 24 general election, Asbury, and, just so happened I have Becky sitting in here today. Becky worked at Asbury, for the general election, and they were very, very busy, they closed later than normal.
No, we didn't close later, but we had I think we had 232 provisional ballots.
232, okay.
I mean, it was nonstop. There were times that there were 50 people in line to do provisional ballots.
So I know that we have to do something different, in that area. So I'm willing to try something to see if we could help, with the number of people, going to Asbury. And, we have, with the change, it looks like they have, less voters going there because of Pinehurst School, which is in, down the road, which is in a nearby district. So as much as I don't want it, because it's gonna require us to have more stops, I think it is probably, a good thing to try, in the 26 election if we have the drop box available. You don't have to decide on that today. You can decide next week. But go ahead, Becky.
I was just gonna say, we got into some trouble because we got so busy that we kept referring people to Pinehurst and they were not equipped. So yeah, lots of people came back to Asbury after they'd gone to Pinehurst, that it was overwhelmed.
It was a lot.
It was quite a lot.
It was a lot to have.
They tried to keep up, but it was pretty bad.
And I said consider next week, because remember, next week we have to come back in a meeting to vote on the election plan. The reason why, I recommended, next week to start with that process is, I have to have my final plan to the state by the deadline of the 24th. When we present it, once you vote on, the precincts, we need to start entering that information in the computer so that we have that, completed. So you have the plan, all of the information, that I will be presenting to you next week will be the polling place, the precincts, the early voting, locations, the drop box information. And, you will, we can have discussion and vote on it, but we cannot vote on it to next week, just in case someone, comes in and have questions about our plan. So I had to have that online for 2 weeks before you could vote on it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. We see that we're gonna have an exciting 26.
Yes, yes.
Really appreciate that. They've done an excellent job for the number of people that's here. And coming by some evenings, you would still think it was before 4 o'clock.
No.
You have some diligently faithful employees.
Thank you.
Let's see, the additional election plan meeting is gonna be next week, and it would have to go to the 29th.
So, can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
Is it gonna be 9 o'clock also?
I put it at 9. It's really, I put it at 9 o'clock. If you decide to change the time, I would recommend doing it today so that I can post it.
I would propose that we change the time. This is a horrible time for me in the next 2 weeks.
You say that.
And keep in mind, if we decide next week, you won't have the 29th or the 5th. So it's just a matter of presenting it, opening it up for discussion, and then you will be dismissed.
Okay. I would propose 11 if that would be possible, or 8, either one would work better for me.
On the
29th,
22nd.
on 22nd, yes,
The 22nd,
yes.
the 8 is a 0 for me.
Okay.
Okay.
11 is good for me.
11.
11, is that okay with everybody else?
We have a meeting next?
Yes.
Next,
Okay.
I was unclear
At
on that,
11?
but we had to be
We
here.
have to be here for that. We have to vote on it.
Okay.
It has to be done.
The board would vote on it, you as a board. And we typically, Nicole, we typically don't have that, but because the plan is due,
Right.
we have to vote on it, and I had to have it up for 2 weeks.
So the 29th.
11 o'clock.
If we do not, what is the 29th?
Yeah, I'll go back and cancel those, we would just cancel those, so I only put it on if it was needed. So, I put the 29th and the 5th just in case, but I don't think we'll need it.
Okay. That will be that.
And, what would happen is, when you do the motion, like, I will be presenting those smaller precincts to the county. So, you would just consider that in your motion as well. Go ahead.
It had nothing to do with me. I was just
Okay.
wondering if we had public on there that was waiting, or because if there were, we should at least say that we're still in closed session.
We're not in closed, the meeting is open.
I know, that's why I was asking if there was public there, if it's just staff, and we don't need to change it. Or is it just to let them know?
I can't tell, who's online.
But does it
For
say
for the YouTube, but it's no one on our Google, but the YouTube,
Okay,
I can't tell. Normally we do have, other boards or other people watching for YouTube.
so that, but my point was, they have no idea. Did we say why we stopped? Did we say that?
We're not stopping.
I said, stop recording.
No, that would be, that's how you would stop it.
That's how you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still recording live.
That was my confusion.
Oh, okay.
I looked at it from this angle, all I could see was stop recording.
No, we're still recording.
I got you.
When we go into the closed session, we'll hit that and actually stop it.
That's all I could see from
Oh,
the
that's
side. I
fine.
was wondering, there must be
Yeah.
people waiting.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Better to ask than not.
Mhm.
All right, now, you know, that's gonna be next week at 11.
I just offer.
All right,
Retirees.
so,
Done before.
December calendar.
Typically in December, we move our, board meeting up to the second week. And I was just wondering if it was okay with you all to just have it on the third week. The second week in December, I will be attending the Mako Winter Conference. So if it's okay with you all, would you like to have it on the 17th?
It's fine.
This works fine for me to make it the 17th.
The 17th,
It's fairly early. It's not like it's late in the month.
right?
Yeah.
Is that good with you, Pete?
Yeah, that's what I have on my calendar.
Okay, the 17th. And that will be our staff Christmas luncheon. Did you have any recommendations? Or are you okay with whatever we,
It's gonna be here, correct?
if that's what you would like, we could have it here.
That works fine for me.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already
Okay.
here.
So,
Coming in nine.
next month we will
Coming.
give recommendations.
We're coming at 9, and then after that, we have lunch, or we have to
Yes,
come back. So when we finish here, we can roll on over to the next room.
yeah, we should be done, no later than 10:30.
Okay.
And then we could just convert right over, so lunch, brunch, whatever,
Okay,
okay,
thank you. That just
for
was.
Christmas.
Just wrote it down.
Very good. All right, we're moving right along. Then, you have members' time before we go into closed session. Members' time, Andrea,
I don't have anything.
Nicole.
Nothing.
Well, all righty then. We're going to adjourn from the regular meeting. So we can go into the closed session.
Yeah.
I need to get a form for Carlson and then a motion to close the regular meeting. It is 9:49. I will give it a second and I need a second on that. Right? Then I need to have a motion to open up the closed session and I'll get it back to it. Thank you. Second.
Second.
All right. Going.
We have the form for closed meetings.
Yes. Nicole has the form.
Yeah, that's the one.
I can't have the phone.
Okay.